going on, Jerome? Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell fed the local media jackals on Wednesday ahead of the showdown against the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday back at historic U.S. Bank Stadium. It's going to be a big-time game. Both teams are purple. Both teams dealt with injuries early on in the season, threatened to derail, but both are on the right side of the ledger now. And the Vikings, 4.5-point underdogs, 3.5 in some points, but 3.5 in some spots. But bring it on. Bring it on. Right? Kevin O'Connell, also important, he didn't lead off with injury updates, which please just stay healthy for the rest of the year, because this is what the team is supposed to be, right? And there wasn't any news about Aaron Jones or Darisaw, or there wasn't anything about McCarthy at either press conference, which is fantastic. Just please keep it together. Also, Kevin O'Connell, like, when he was talking about J.J. McCarthy and his game, he's just like a proud parent. He was a proud papa. And the cats and the cradle and the silver spoon, all that stuff. So, first off, excited for Levi Drake Rodriguez, named NFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Blocked a field goal in a field goal game. Big time stuff. Also, LDR's getting in there on the defensive line rotation as well. Love to see it. Plus, the Vikings back home, finding out about this team. And the name of the game is consistency, where the Vikings, especially, you can blame injuries, but also just whoever was out there too. It really was a will they show up today or not sort of situation. So hopefully that everything is resolved. Vikings getting some puck luck with health and off to the races, baby. Also, talk about J.J. McCarthy, calling his game comfortable where he's at pre-snap and post-snap. And remember, this was his third NFL start, coming up on his fourth, but he already does a lot of things well, especially the line of scrimmage. But focus on what he does well, getting playmakers going, also being cognizant about running the football. I feel like Kevin O'Connell has to remind himself of that often, because there are times, especially in game, where it gets a little pass happy. Gets a little 5 and 7 step drops. Let's run the dagger route. Let's try and get this. Or let's run a bang 8 and try to split the safeties. Let's do that. Also, talked about JJ can clearly spin it. A lot of RPMs on that ball, but sometimes you need some touch on some of those fastballs. It's something that he's going to work through and be fine. And also, he talked about giving guys a chance for the run after the catch, and that just comes with reps. We're placing the ball where the player, whether it's Addison or Jefferson or Speedy Naylor, can do something with it afterwards. It's going to be good. Also, capable of consistency, lower body mechanics. That's going to be a big part of the accuracy as well. Plus, you talked about the best part of J.J. McCarthy is that the biggest moment of the game, he just iced it. And there wasn't any pep talk or conversation before that. But, J.J. recognized, hey, coach is giving me a chance to win this game right here, right now. And went out and did it, with Jalen Speedy Naylor. And, trust in J.J. to make that throw, make that decision, where if they came out with a different coverage where Speedy didn't get that one-on-one, if they came out zone, being able to tuck and run and, keep that clock moving, maybe picks up the first, maybe he doesn't, but trusted him to do that. Plus, so the 30-yard swing pass to Jones, which it counted as a rush, because it wasn't, it was at the line of script. It was at where he released the football. All right, so technically it was a lateral, but a really damn good touch on that one. Also, apparently he checked to it. All right, we called can on the road and checked to that play, or recognized the coverage that the Lions were going to be in, and it's really smart, and busted out and was completely wide ass open. And that's the name of the game too, where you can have a quarterback who has all the arm strength in the world, but if they can't win above the neck against the defense, not going to work. JJ has both, which is good. Also, he compared it to a high-level chef making a meal. It's sort of a take on the Bill Parcells thing. Oh, you want to shop for the groceries, where the coaches get the groceries and some instructions, and then the chef makes it his own. Wasn't perfect, but it's pretty good. Also, talk about how JJ is high capacity and capable of so much. So you could tell, like, smiling, smirking, talking about how J.J. McCarthy long-term, like, these two jabronis are going to win the Vikings multiple Super Bowls, 12 in 10 years. It's going to be great, man. Continued. Yeah, trade deadline. So there was some calls made. Kwesi was in full communication with him and the staff. Also, you point out that, Tuesday is basically game planning day. Then you get into the install days during practice. So the coaches were busy. But Kwesi made some calls. There were some options on the table, but things didn't come together. And sometimes that works out for the best, because you talked about the Ravens, where the Ravens are a lot like the Vikings, bitten by the injury bug early, sort of torpedoed the season early on, but the Ravens started off 1-5 and making a comeback. Well, they also got to play the Bears and the who else did they play? Oh, the Dolphins. But the Ravens, maybe the best combo of corners in the NFL. Also, Kyle Hamilton playing in that nickel spot. It's impactful. It's a big-time deal. Vikings didn't need him. Lewisine. Yeah. And then for the Vikings defense, talk about Andrew Van Ginkel, just instincts, playmaking, as well as the communication, where having Van Ginkel back, having Cashman back, having Harrison Smith back in a full-time role, like the spine of that defense, the communication hub, where everyone gets on the same page and all 11 players are getting the correct call, playing the correct defense. There's so many layers that go on there, and Flores is able to be in his bag and call a lot of exotic stuff because of those levels of communication. Plus, they can adjust on the fly as needed, which is good. Lamar Jackson, I mean, what else can you say? MVP, weapon, on and off schedule, extremely dangerous. It's going to be tough. You need a disciplined rush plan. Always account for number 8, and it's going to be a big-time test. Also, shout out Derrick Henry, their physical offensive line, everything. Like, the Ravens are a good football team. They just had really terrible puck luck injury puck luck early. Kind of sounds like the Vikings. And then when asked about McCarthy's post game and his intensity, where it never catches Kevin O'Connell off guard, where basically say a couple words, give him the game ball, and then get the hell out of his way, right? And it's just JJ McCarthy authentically being himself. And we said this before, you can't fake that intensity, you can't fake that level of football psychoness in the best possible way, right? And that's the whole thing where Kirk Cousins, he is a dad joke guy. Josh Dobbs, he's literally a rocket scientist. Where Sam Darnold, more quiet, laid back. Carson Wentz, same deal. JJ McCarthy is a freaking Tasmanian devil, and also I feel like that carries over to the field. Like that intensity, like you don't have to be that way to be able to show up in the clutch moments. Look at Joe Montana, but then you look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady, LFG, is kind of that dude as well. Maybe it's a Michigan thing. Check in on Brian Greasy. How come he's not psycho? What about Shoelace? What about Tate Forcier? Either way, I feel like we're in really, really pretty good hands. So don't worry about it. Anyways, your thoughts, our thoughts. Kevin O'Connell. Talk to the Media Jackals on Wednesday. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, his thoughts, comment section. You guys are the best you know what to do. Skol, production value.